Ah, welcome back. You walking, question mark. You beautiful disruption in human form. You silent earthquake that nobody saw coming. There's something about you, isn't there? Something they can't name, can't package, can't scroll past without feeling it crawl under their skin like a frequency that won't stop humming. You've noticed it, haven't you? The way conversations pause half a second too long when you walk in. The way eyes linger even when there's nothing left to look at. The way people keep bringing you up in conversations you're not even part of. They don't want to. Trust me, they actually hate that they can't stop thinking about you. But something in you triggers a neurological hijacking they have zero control over. It's not your looks, not your words, not even your energy in the traditional sense. It's something deeper, something coded into your presence that bypasses their rational mind and goes straight to the part of their brain that recognizes danger, power, mystery. Let me tell you what's really happening here while they're pretending you're just another person. Their subconscious is screaming alarms, sending red flags, triggering ancient survival instincts because you don't fit the pattern. You don't follow the script. You don't operate like the rest of the predictable masses they've learned to categorize and dismiss. You are the glitch in their comfortable reality, the error message in their social programming, the static in their perfectly filtered feed. When they look at you, something in their primitive brain whispers, "This one is different. This one sees through the performance. This one cannot be controlled." And that thought, that tiny whisper of recognition, it hijacks their entire operating system. Suddenly they're checking if you saw their story, replaying what they said to you 3 days ago, wondering what you think of them even though they swore they didn't care. They refresh, they obsess, they analyze your smallest reactions like archaeologists studying ancient texts. Here's what they won't admit out loud. Not to their friends, not to their therapists, not even to themselves at 3 a.m. when the truth gets too heavy to carry. You make them feel seen, not in the warm, fuzzy way, in the uncomfortable way, in the way that exposes every mask they wear, every lie they tell, every corner they've been hiding in. Your silence reads like judgment. Your presence feels like a mirror they didn't ask for. Your energy exposes the fakeness they've built their whole identity around. They wanted to dismiss you as quiet, weird, too intense, too much, but something won't let them. Something keeps dragging their attention back to you like gravity, like magnetism, like an addiction they never signed up for. You are not trying to be mysterious. You are not performing aloofness. You are not playing games. You are simply existing in a frequency they can't ignore. And that is what makes you absolutely terrifying to people who survive on being forgettable. So they watch you, not because they admire you, at least not yet, but because they can't figure you out. They watch because every time they think they've got you categorized, you do something that shatters the box. Say something that rewrites their assumptions. Stay silent in a way that says more than their entire vocabulary could ever express. You are the puzzle their ego insists they can solve. The mystery their mind obsesses over at night. The presence that refuses to fade even when you're gone. And the sickest part, the part that keeps them awake, scrolling through old conversations, is that you don't even notice. You're not tracking their reactions, not analyzing their attention, not feeding off their obsession. You're just living. And somehow that makes the pull even stronger. Because obsession doesn't come from someone begging for it. It comes from someone who doesn't need it at all. And you beautiful, untouchable force, you stopped needing anything from anyone a long time ago. Now let's talk about what happens when you enter a room. Not physically, emotionally, energetically, existentially. The air shifts, doesn't it? Not because you announced yourself, not because you performed some grand entrance, but because your presence carries weight, carries history, carries 1,000 unspoken truths that people feel before they even process them consciously. They don't know why they straightened their posture, why they lowered their voice mid-sentence, why they suddenly became hyper-aware of how fake their laugh sounds. But you know, because you've seen this reaction 100 times. You are the uninvited reminder that most people are performing, pretending, hiding, and your refusal to join the theater makes everyone else's costume feel ridiculous. They hate you for it. They respect you for it. They can't stop thinking about you because of it. Here's the thing they don't teach you in school, in therapy, in self-help books that smell like lavender and lies. Attention is not earned through noise, through performance, through begging people to look at you. Attention, real attention, the kind that burrows into someone's psyche and sets up permanent residence. That comes from presence, from authenticity so raw it makes people uncomfortable, from energy so unapologetic it forces others to confront their own compromises. You didn't wake up one day and decide to become magnetic. You didn't follow some viral strategy for making people obsessed. You simply stopped pretending, stopped shrinking, stopped translating yourself into digestible content for people who were never going to understand you anyway. And the moment you stopped performing, the moment you stopped caring whether they got it or not, that was the moment you became impossible to ignore, impossible to forget, impossible to reduce to a simple label or easy category. They try. Oh, how they try to box you in, to explain you away, to reduce you to a single trait they can mock or dismiss. They're just quiet, they say. But then you speak, and the whole room goes silent because your words carry weight. Theirs never will. They're just intense, they whisper. But intensity is just their word for depth they'll never reach, for thoughts they'll never think, for feelings they've been running from their whole lives. They're just different, they conclude. And finally, they stumble on to something true. But different doesn't mean less. Different doesn't mean wrong. Different means you're operating on a frequency they're not evolved enough to process yet. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not the problem. You are simply refusing to dumb yourself down to make mediocrity feel comfortable. And that refusal, that quiet rebellion, that's what hijacks their attention and won't let go. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening in their head when they think about you, when they scroll past your name, when they see you across the room. There's a war happening, a full-scale psychological battle between their ego and their intuition, between what they want to believe and what they know is true. Their ego screams, "They're nobody special. Just another person trying too hard to be different. Just another wannabe mysterious loner who thinks they're better than everyone else." But their intuition, that quiet voice they've been ignoring for years, it whispers something else entirely. This person sees through you. This person knows the truth you're hiding. This person is exactly what you could have been if you hadn't sold out for comfort and approval. And that whisper, that tiny crack in their armor, it grows every time they encounter you. Every time you refuse to play their games. Every time you exist without needing their validation. So they obsess, not because they want to, but because something in them recognizes something in you, something they lost a long time ago. something they buried under layers of performance and people-pleasing and fear. They see freedom in you, real freedom, not the Instagram caption kind, not the living my best life delusion, but the terrifying, beautiful freedom that comes from no longer giving a damn what anyone thinks, from no longer needing anyone's permission to exist exactly as you are. And that freedom, that unapologetic authenticity, it triggers something primal in them, something hungry, something desperate, something that wants to consume you, understand you, become you. But here's the joke, the cosmic punchline they'll never get. You can't become someone else's freedom. You can only find your own. And watching you won't give them the answer. It'll just make them more obsessed with the question. You know what really happens when they look at you? When they really look. Not the casual glance, not the polite acknowledgement, but the deep stare they try to hide behind fake conversations and forced smiles. They see everything they're not, everything they gave up, everything they compromised for a life that looks good on paper but feels hollow at 2 a.m. When the performance finally stops, you are the living proof that another way exists, that people can survive without constant validation, that strength doesn't require an audience, that peace doesn't need applause, and that proof, that walking contradiction to everything they've built their identity on, it shatters them quietly, slowly, completely. They wanted you to fail, to break, to prove that being real doesn't work in this world. But you didn't. You thrived in your own way, on your own terms, and now they're stuck watching someone live the life they were too afraid to choose. Let's go deeper into the mechanics of this hijacking, into the psychology they don't want you to understand. Because once you do, once you see how this works, you become even more powerful, even more untouchable. Human beings are pattern recognition machines. We survive by categorizing, by predicting, by fitting everything into neat little boxes that help us navigate the chaos. Friendly, threat, useful, irrelevant. We sort people faster than we realize, usually within seconds of meeting them. But you don't fit any of their boxes. You don't trigger their usual responses. You exist in the space between categories, in the gap their brain can't process. And that gap, that cognitive dissonance, it creates an obsessive loop they can't escape. Their brain keeps trying to solve you, to figure you out, to make you make sense. And every time they think they've cracked the code, you shift, you evolve, you reveal another layer they didn't see coming. This is why they can't stop talking about you, analyzing you, bringing you up in conversations that have nothing to do with you. Their brain is stuck in an infinite loop, trying to resolve the paradox of your existence, trying to reconcile the fact that someone can be this self-contained, this unmoved by external validation, this comfortable in their own skin without needing constant reassurance. You break their model of how humans are supposed to operate. You violate their understanding of social dynamics. You exist as proof that their entire worldview might be wrong. And that possibility, that tiny crack in their reality, it terrifies them more than any direct threat ever could. Because if you can be this way, if you can thrive without playing their games, then maybe, just maybe, everything they've sacrificed for acceptance was for nothing. And that thought, that devastating realization, they'll do anything to avoid it, including obsessing over you until they find a flaw, a weakness, some proof that you're not as real as you seem. But here's what destroys them slowly, methodically, completely. They never find that proof. They watch you for months, years, waiting for the mask to slip, for the performance to crack, for the real you to emerge and prove that you're just like them underneath all the mystery. But the mask never slips because there is no mask. The performance never cracks because there is no performance. The real you is already here, has always been here, refusing to hide, refusing to shrink, refusing to translate itself into something more palatable for people who can't handle the truth. You are not playing a character. You are not building a brand. You are not performing authenticity for the algorithm. You are simply being. And that simple act of existing without pretense, it's the most radical thing a person can do in a world built on lies, filters, and carefully curated fakeness. So they keep watching, keep analyzing, keep trying to decode the secret formula that makes you this way. But there is no formula. There is no trick. There is no step-by-step guide to becoming unbothered by the opinions of people who don't matter. You didn't read a book, didn't follow a guru, didn't manifest this energy through affirmations and vision boards. You earned it through pain, through betrayal, through nights when you had nothing but your own mind and the crushing weight of truth, through moments when you had to choose between being liked and being real, and you chose real every single time. That choice, that repeated, brutal, honest choice, it forged you into something they can study but never replicate, something they can admire but never become. Because becoming you would require them to let go of everything they've been clinging to, every mask, every performance, every comfortable lie they've told themselves about who they are. Now we arrive at the part they'll never admit, not to you, not to their friends, not even to themselves when the loneliness gets too loud to ignore. They are addicted to you, not in the romantic sense, not in the obsessive stalker sense, but in the way people get addicted to things they can't control, things that make them feel something real in a world of manufactured emotions and performative feelings. You make them feel uncertain, uncomfortable, exposed, and in a strange, twisted way, they crave that feeling because it's the only genuine emotion they've had in years. Everyone else makes them feel safe, predictable, understood. But you make them feel awake, alert, aware of every facade they're wearing. And that awareness, that sudden clarity, it's addictive precisely because it's painful. Here's the mechanism behind the addiction, the neurological trick their brain is playing on them without their conscious awareness. Every time they encounter you, every time they see your name, every time they remember something you said 3 months ago that still echoes in their mind, their brain releases a cocktail of chemicals: dopamine for the novelty, cortisol for the uncertainty, adrenaline for the perceived threat, oxytocin for the connection they imagine might be possible. This chemical storm creates a high, a rush, a feeling of being intensely alive that their comfortable, predictable life never provides. And like any addiction, they start craving that feeling, start seeking opportunities to trigger it, start manufacturing excuses to be near you, to think about you, to talk about you, all while pretending they don't care, all while maintaining the performance that you're just another person they barely notice. But you're not just another person, and they know it, and that knowledge burns them slowly from the inside out. They've met thousands of people, forgotten most of them within days. But you carved yourself into their memory without even trying, without even wanting to, without even knowing the power you hold. They replay conversations with you like favorite songs, analyze your reactions like sacred texts, search for hidden meanings in your simplest statements. And the whole time they're doing this, They're pretending it's casual, pretending it's nothing, pretending you haven't hijacked their entire mental operating system. They tell themselves they're just curious, just interested, just trying to understand. But curiosity doesn't keep you up at 3 a.m. obsessing over why someone looked at you a certain way. Curiosity doesn't make you check someone's social media for the 7th time today. Curiosity doesn't turn a casual acquaintance into the main character of your internal monologue. Let me tell you what they're really doing when they say they're just wondering about you, when they casually bring you up in conversation, when they ask mutual friends about you while pretending it's no big deal. They are trying to solve an unsolvable puzzle, trying to find the source code of your power, trying to understand how someone can be this self-sufficient, this unbothered, this immune to the social pressures that control everyone else. They want the formula, the secret, the magic words that will explain how you do it, how you exist without needing validation, without craving attention, without performing for approval. But there is no formula. There is no secret. There are no magic words. There is only the brutal, honest truth that you stopped needing things they still desperately crave. And that difference, that fundamental gap in consciousness, it's what makes you fascinating and them obsessed. And here's the cruelest part of this dynamic. The cosmic joke they'll spend years trying to understand, but never will. The less you need their attention, the more